Caitlin Clark turned a Wednesday Pro-Am into a prime-time event. The Indiana Fever Guard arrived at Pelican Golf Club outside Tampa to compete in the Annika driven by Gainbridge Pro-Am for the second straight year. And the scene felt closer to a major championship than a casual pre-tournament round. Fans in Fever jerseys lined the ropes several rows deep. The Golf Channel focused its coverage on Clark's group from the opening tee shot. Even LPGA players described the atmosphere as crazy. It wasn't just golf. It was the Caitlin Clark effect on full display. Clark stepped onto the first tee in a full Nike look that showcased her growing brand across sports. Head-to-toe swoosh, coordinated tones, and the now familiar CC mark. Every piece photographed beautifully in the Florida sun. She teased her own Player Edition Nike golf shoes and then provided a telling update. The design is still in development because, in her words, they need to be perfect before she wears them in competition. That attention to detail fits who she is right now, an athlete who understands the stakes for her personal brand, the WNBA, and women's sports as a whole. The star power wasn't limited to what she wore. Clark brought WNBA energy to an LPGA stage with two familiar faces looping alongside her. Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull took up caddy duties in custom outfits complete with names and jersey numbers, turning a leisurely Pro-Am into a cross-league showcase. Their presence mattered. They weren't props. Hull helped Clark with green reads and pace, translating her on-court field of putts that needed a confident roll. Cunningham called yardages like set plays, joked with the gallery, and leaned into the moment without losing focus. The interplay was natural and funny, a rare off-court window into personalities fans usually see only during high-pressure possessions. It didn't take long for the day to produce viral clips. At one tee, Cunningham's drive ricocheted into the gallery and clipped a fan. Clark immediately yelled, "Man down," and Sophie sprinted over to check on him. He laughed it off. "Don't feel bad, it was worth it," and walked away with signed jerseys and a story that will live forever. The gallery roared and the group kept moving, the tension broken, the fun intact. The entire production felt calibrated to show what women's sports can be when the right star is centered and supported. Nelly Korda, world number one and one of the most recognizable athletes in golf, praised Clark's presence and the energy she brought to the Pro-Am. The Golf Channel cameras tracked Clark's swings, her interactions, even the small moments between shots. NASCAR driver Carson Hocevar stopped by for a jersey swap. Social feeds lit up with clips and photos across the afternoon. For a midweek hit and giggle, the coverage was wall-to-wall, and Clark was the reason. Then came the news that mattered most to WNBA fans. Mid-round, standing on a putting green after rolling in a long logo-distance putt that sent the crowd into a frenzy, Clark looked into the Golf Channel cameras and made it clear she feels 100% healthy. After a year complicated by injuries, groin issues early, and a bone bruise in her ankle later, she addressed the question that has followed her all offseason. No hedging, no qualifiers. She said she's back to full strength and ready to get back to basketball. That update lands like a thunderclap for the Indiana Fever's timeline. The team proved it could grind without its star and still push into contention. Now they get their engine back at full power. Clark's shooting gravity, pace setting, and late-game command reshaped the Fever offense in her first months as a pro. A fully healthy version of that profile, paired with the roster that found edges in her absence, lifts Indiana's ceiling immediately. Add in the marketing and attendance impact, already historic for a rookie season, and you understand why Fever fans in the gallery began chanting about the 2026 season as soon as she finished speaking. This is what franchise players do. They alter competitive windows and rewrite expectations in real time. It's worth noting how Clark says she got here. She described how the golf swing, its rotation, tempo, and follow-through, helped her address shoulder issues that nagged throughout the year. Golf became functional cross-training, low-impact repetition that reinforces sequencing and stabilizes supporting muscle groups necessary for her jumper and passing mechanics. You could see it in her body language at Pelican. She moved with confidence, her swing looked fluid, and the follow-throughs were free of the hitch that crept in late last season. The form spoke as loudly as the words did. There was another storyline emerging as the day went on. the gap between how the LPGA embraced Clark and how the WNBA has sometimes struggled to manage and maximize her star power. Golf rolled out red carpet programming, featured coverage, and A-list pairings. Analysts on the broadcast were direct about her influence, crediting Clark for making the Pro-Am feel like a headliner event, and yes, pointing out the broader conversation around how she's been officiated and treated in her rookie WNBA season. The segment wasn't a takedown, it was a reality check. When an athlete pulls new audiences into your sport, the goal is to amplify, not suppress.
That perspective wasn't limited to the booth. Cunningham used the moment to highlight a persistent league issue. When fans shouted for her and Hull to re-sign with Indiana, Sophie grinned and fired back, "Tell them to pay us." Delivered with humor, the line cut to the core of ongoing compensation and CBA debates that shape player movement and retention in the WNBA. It was an unexpected venue for a labor conversation, but the point landed. The biggest platforms will naturally become forums for the biggest questions. If you needed numbers to measure impact, the gallery at Pelican offered them. Fever jerseys were everywhere. Reports from the grounds noted a dramatic attendance bump over last year's Pro-Am, with some outlets citing quadruple-digit percentage increases. Even if you're conservative in your estimates, the conclusion doesn't change. Clark's cross-sport appeal drives crowds, cameras, and conversation. That's not hype. That's observable, repeatable behavior from audiences who want to be where she is. From a news standpoint, 3 takeaways stand out. First, the brand is scaling. Nike's visible commitment to Clark at a golf event, full kit, CC marks, and a teased Player Edition golf shoe shows a long-term investment beyond basketball. Cross-category product is where star athletes become durable cultural figures. The insistence on waiting for the right product moment signals a strategy built on quality control and longevity. Second, the health update changes the Fever's competitive math. With Clark at 100%, Indiana regains the league's most prolific spacer and one of its best late-clock creators. Opponents have to reallocate defensive resources, which unlocks secondary scoring and simplifies reads for teammates. In practical terms, that means more paint touches, easier corner threes, and higher free throw rates. The Fever can now build continuity with their lead guard in training camp instead of waiting for a return-to-play ramp. Third, the moment highlighted a media template women's sports can copy. The LPGA's production choices, celebrity pairings, real-time storytelling, and smart social distribution met fans where they are. They put the star at the center, then built the day around her without excluding the core product. It lifted the entire field. The lesson is simple. When you have a crossover draw, lean in. To be clear, this wasn't a one-woman show. Hull's input on the greens mattered. Cunningham's personality filled the space between shots. Nelly Korda treated Clark like the peer she is, not a guest star from another sport. The LPGA channel handled the Pro-Am as a major media property, not a filler segment. Everything worked because all the pieces aligned behind the same idea: celebrate excellence, welcome new fans, and have fun doing it. Clark's comments also signaled a mindset shift ahead of next season. Asked about balancing golf and basketball, she emphasized that golf has remained secondary during rehab and that the priority now is basketball-specific work. The off-court moments, she suggested, serve a purpose when they grow the game and give fans access, but none of it comes at the expense of preparation. That's a message Fever fans and coaches will appreciate. The leadership style remains the same: transparent, competitive, and relentlessly team-first. The broader industry conversation will only intensify from here. Women's basketball is entering a window of unprecedented visibility. Ratings are climbing, attendance records are falling, merchandising is maturing, sponsors want in. Clark sits at the center of that momentum, and she knows it. The question for leagues and teams is how to capitalize. Scheduling, broadcast windows, flexible media rights packages, player marketing support, and community activations that translate national interest into local growth. The Pro-Am became a case study because it showed how a well-coordinated event can bridge audiences and encourage sampling. If you came for Caitlin, you stayed for Nelly, and vice versa. That is how ecosystems expand.
Back to the ground-level details that fans care about most. How did Clark actually play? She was honest about the current state of her golf game, said she's been slicing the driver and swinging too fast, but found rhythm as the round progressed. She talked about growing up with a junior set, putting the clubs away, then picking the game back up in college during off days. Nothing embellished, nothing staged. Just an athlete enjoying competition in a different format and using it to sharpen focus for what comes next. What comes next, of course, is the WNBA season, and with it, a reboot of Indiana's ambitions. The Fever already saw boosts in ticket sales, road attendance, and national TV windows during Clark's debut stretch. A clean bill of health accelerates all of it. On court, you'll look for sharper timing on dribble handoffs, more comfortable off-ball relocation, and the return of that deep, quick trigger range that punishes late closeouts. Off-court, expect expanded community engagements in Indianapolis, increased merchandise drops, and more collaborative moments with athletes across sports, because this Pro-Am proved those crossovers deliver. There's also the matter of how the league responds. The officiating conversation from last season won't disappear on its own. Players want consistency, stars want room to be stars, and fans want the game decided by skill, not whistles. Clark's profile ensures those discussions won't stay in niche corners of social media. The hope is that public scrutiny leads to improvements that benefit everyone, not just one player. For now, the headline is simple. Caitlin Clark turned the Pelican Golf Club Pro-Am into a showcase for women's sports, used the platform to give a definitive injury update, and sent a clear signal about the Indiana Fever's future. The brand is ascending, the body is ready, and the basketball is about to get serious. If you're a Fever fan, you circle opening night. If you're a WNBA fan, you circle every nationally televised Indiana game. If you're a sports fan, you pay attention to how often one athlete can change the temperature of a room, on a golf course, in an arena, or anywhere a camera is rolling. We'll leave you with this. What do you expect from the Fever next season with a fully healthy Caitlin Clark? How should the WNBA capitalize on her cross-sport momentum? Drop your predictions below. Like the video if you're ready for tip-off, subscribe for daily WNBA news and Indiana Fever updates, and make sure you've got notifications turned on so you never miss a moment. Caitlin Clark is healthy. The Fever are ready. Women's basketball just got even more compelling.